Hey, this is Overpass Insights. My name is Eric and I make apps. Now, today let's talk about when to turn down client projects. All right, so today is another nasty and rainy day. And I was going to talk about Google I/O today because yesterday was the first Google I/O keynote for 2019. And I was going to talk about some of those new features like dark mode and the other announcements they had yesterday. But we'll talk about those on a future video because so far I'm kind of like, I'm kind of underwhelmed by a lot of those things. I'm not quite sure what I think about them just yet. But today I want to talk about turning down clients. Now, I talk a lot about this, how Overpass and we turn down a lot of projects. And usually the assumption there is that we're too busy. We're overbooked. We don't have enough bandwidth to handle it. And a lot of times that's true. Sometimes we are too busy. Sometimes our processes aren't working well in terms of scaling. Sometimes we're working a new developer in and he's just driving me crazy. I'm trying to decide whether or not we actually want to do a project with them. There's a lot of reasons there, but sometimes it has nothing to do with being too busy. Sometimes it could be other reasons. A lot of times we'll turn down projects just because they don't seem like they're going to be any fun. They seem a little bit too complicated and it would just be a pain to do, and we just politely decline those kind of projects. And I usually hem and haw over these kind of, because you think, well, work is work. You have to get done what you have to get done. It's a high paying project. We should go through it. But then I think, I'm not going to enjoy it any way through, and it's just going to be a slog. And sometimes we'll just politely decline those. And when we say you should probably go talk to another developer because it's not a bad project. It's just, God, I just don't want to work on this, right? And sometimes, sometimes I have taken on those projects. I think, oh yeah, we could really use the money this month. Yeah, let's take on that project. And most of the time I regret it. So that's one of the reasons why to turn something down. Sometimes we'll turn down projects just because the app idea is so questionably close to it's pushing the envelope of Google Play or iOS policies. And we think we don't want to create this and then have it be rejected at the end. We would get paid regardless. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if we develop something and then it was rejected by Google Play, our terms and conditions say we get paid anyway. But it is such a buzzkill to have that happen. Just to put all that work into something and then have it not go live. I mean, and it's terrible. It's terrible to see that on the client, and it's just something not wanted to be involved with. But probably one of the biggest reasons, besides being busy, that we'll turn down a project is sometimes the prospect or the client just doesn't seem like we'd be a good fit. And this is one of the reasons why I try to take as much time as I can before we make a decision. And sometimes I take too long. Sometimes we lose a job because I take too long. Try to take as much time as possible before I make a decision so I can make sure that we're a good fit. Sometimes we'll get a prospect and they just sort of rub me the wrong way to begin with. And as a salesperson, this is probably a terrible thing to say, but sometimes you just think, we're just not clicking, right? Sometimes, and I've talked about this before, sometimes I'll get an email or a phone call and the first sentence will be, or the first question will be, okay, I'm going to tell you, if I tell you my app idea, how do I know you're not just going to steal it and make it yourself, right? And they just ask point blank, as if that's not an insulting question in any way. And they'll say, how do I know you're not just how do I know you're not just going to steal my app idea? And I'll usually say, well, we have an NDA. We've signed an NDA. We're not going to steal your app idea. We have plenty of ideas on our own. And then if it's followed up by further, like I've had the NDA. The NDA is not good enough. That's just a document. How do we know you're not going to steal the idea? And then at that point, I'm like, I don't know what to say. It's at this point we're starting at a point of distrust. We're starting at a point of lack. Another example is like if we go with a ballpark quote and then we immediately meet resistance, like, ooh, that's a lot of money. How much money am I going to make from this app if we go through this? If I'm going to spend this amount of money, how much do you think I'll make every day from this? Of course, and I've talked about this before. Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. Apps don't naturally make money. I say apps don't naturally make money. You are selling a product on a market, so you need to make sure that it makes money. That's why you have to make sure that it does, and that's one of the problems a lot of people have when they go into the App Store, is that they think it's magic and it's a magic money earning thing, but you are selling a product, or you're or even through advertising, you're putting something out there, and you have to get eyeballs on it, so it has to be good, and it has to be a good idea, and it has to be in a market that, if it's a crowded market, it has to really stand out, and that's part of the marketing side of things, which we don't necessarily, which we will advise on. We advise on the ASO, we do all that kind of stuff. Like, I will help in every way possible, but I can't make any guarantees. So usually it's that kind of thing where it comes from a lack mentality. And if you've ever worked in a project like that, it's draining emotionally and personally and in all different type of ways. And over the years, I've kind of got to the point where I start to identify those early on. I'm not just saying I don't always not take on those projects, but sometimes I'll take them on, but I always regret it, right? So when you take on a client, always be, you also have to have an abundance mentality. As a developer, you can't have a lack mentality. You can't think, if I turn this down, this will be the only opportunity I have for client work, because there'll be more clients. There'll be more that come through, and you'll have the perfect fit. I mean, some of our best clients are a joy to work with. It's actually most of our clients are a joy to work with. I appreciate giving the call. It's nice to catch up with them when they discuss an idea. It's like being part of that whole thing is nice. It is. Client work can be nice, but can also be the worst thing ever if you find the right person to work for. So those are just some of the reasons why we'll turn that kind of stuff. So turn that kind of stuff down. So anyway, that is it for today. I will talk to you guys. Actually, no, let me ask you guys this, because this is curious. What kind of projects will you turn down, and why? And have you ever turned down a project? And not just because it wasn't enough money. I mean, money's money. But like, have you ever turned down a project, even though it was paying well, but you're like, this isn't going to fit? And without giving too many details, let us know why in the comments. Anyway, that is it for today. I will talk to you guys again next time.